What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. I've got 5 bets that I've already put down, which I'm going to share with you all today. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to you live from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we get into that, let's recap the last video. I shared 4 bets in the last video, went 3-1. Let's talk about the loser of the day, Isaiah Hartenstein, over 11.5 rebounds. Didn't even get close, and the game pretty much went the way I expected it to be. I thought it'd be low scoring, rebound opportunities everywhere, which there was, but Isaiah Hartenstein wasn't the guy that got the boards. Lou Dort went crazy, SGA went crazy, Cason Wallace got a ton of rebounds, so just didn't happen based on the information I had. I don't think I could do much too differently. He scored like crazy. I did not see that coming, but that was our only loser on the day. Did cash some couple of winners, though. Jalen Johnson's over 9.5 rebounds. Finishes on 10, but he did get there with a lot of time left in the game. Jalen Green, under 17.5 points. Excellent game. Low-scoring game. Tough-ass matchup. Hammer the unders whenever Jalen Green versus OKC. And SGA over 30.5 points. Man, that got sweaty as hell towards the end. By like halfway through the third, I was like, it's coming. It's going to hit. He had 30 points with like 9 minutes left in the game. Still in the balance. Didn't score his 31st and 32nd point the last second. But look, we'll take the win. I thought it was a really good read. I knew he was going to take a lot of shots. He shot terribly, by the way, but he cashed it for us. So 3-1. Hopefully you guys cashed out on that, won yourself a little bit of money. Speaking about money, rebet. Let's talk about the giveaway. Looking to give away $500, $100 US dollars to 5 different people once we hit 100 referrals on rebet. Now, rebet's available in 46 out of 50 states. For those of you who are stuck playing on DFS apps, meaning you don't get to bet money lines, totals, and spreads, well, rebet's got you covered. So go ahead and check it out. Sign up to rebet, deposit $10, send me an email. I'll give you a month of my VIP picks for free, and you'll get an entry into the draw to win $100 US dollars. I think we only need 30 referrals left. I think we're up 70 already. 30 more referrals, then we get to do that giveaway. Hopefully we get it done before Christmas. Great Christmas for you, great Christmas for me. Let's go. Links for that are in the video description below with instructions on how you can make it all happen. So I've got 5 different bets that I want to share with you today. I've also got a list of 4 leans. These are excellent hit rate plays, which I'm close to betting on. I just want to talk you guys through it, and maybe I can talk myself into it. Let's get it. So jumping into props madness, this is by far the best tool you're going to find on the NBA, especially if you like betting on NBA player props. It's got advanced data that nobody else has. I encourage you guys to check it out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. Plus, you'll get 25% off your first month when you use the code DAFT when you sign up. So go ahead and check it out. Now let's talk about these 5 bets. There's a lot of games on. There's a couple of leans. I'm not too sure whether I want to bet them or not, so I'll probably bet them closer to. But for now, the 5 I got. Let's talk about the first game. It's the Pelicans versus the Pacers. I got one play in this game that I like, and we're looking at Obi Toppin over 10.5 points. This guy's made my list of leans for like 3 or 4 games in a row now. I tell you guys I love it. Not sure if I'm going to bet it. I don't bet it, and he's been cashing. So today, I'm biting the bullet, and we're taking the over. So as you can see, he's been on this great run. 6 consecutive games where he's gone over 10.5 points. The biggest difference we've seen here is in his minutes. This blue line represents his minutes played. And what we can see, it's definitely trending upwards. This Indiana team is deep. They play their bench a lot of minutes. Obi Toppin consistently playing over 20 minutes a game. And that's the key thing that's driving the improvement here and this hit rate. So as of late, he's been playing, 21, 23, 31 minutes. I think for a good filter to use, we go to the minimum of 20 minutes. So when Obi Toppin plays a minimum of 20 minutes, he's over this line in 10 out of 13 games. He's played over 20 minutes in 4 consecutive games now. There's been no changes to their lineup, and he's been playing well, so I can't see why he plays less than 20 minutes. Also, I love this matchup here against the New Orleans Pelicans. Obi Toppin scores his points in transition, scores as a spot-up shooter. Both of those things, this Pelicans team, terrible at defending. If we look at where he scores on the floor, right under the basket, 52% of his points, dunks and layups, baby. This Pelicans team, second most points allowed under the basket. So the matchup for Obi Toppin is fantastic. His minutes should be there. He's got a great hit rate, provided he plays more than 20 minutes. Give me that. Over 10.5 points for Obi Toppin. Looking at the odds, -10 on DraftKings at the moment. Best odds available are there. But I did get very similar odds when I sent this bet out probably 5 to 6 hours ago to VIP. So hopefully they were able to get onto it nice and early. So Obi Toppin, over 10.5 points. I don't see this one moving to 11.5, but if it does, I'd still take it. So I do like Obi Toppin and his over. My next set of bets comes in this New York Knicks versus Orlando Magic game. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I found some pretty good looks in this Orlando Magic team. And it helps when two key players are out, kind of limits their options. So the first player that I'm going with is Jalen Suggs. And I'm taking his over 20.5 points in this game. Odds minus 120. That's what I got it for. That's what it's still available for at the moment. This might move to 21.5. Now, Suggs has only hit this in 8 out of 26 games. Nothing too exciting going on there. But the reason why we're betting on Suggs is because Bankero and Franz Wagner are out. That's 53 points combined that they average. Removing that from the equation, somebody's going to get buckets here. And I think it's going to be Jalen Suggs. He's had 2 games without both of them in the lineup. 26 against Phoenix, 32 against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, he's up against the New York Knicks team, which is a somewhat better defensive team than those 2 teams that he's played. But his matchup is fantastic in this one. Jalen Suggs scoring a lot of his points as a pick-and-roll ball handler now, given that they don't have too many options. He's not just a spot-up shooter. He's actually scoring a lot off the dribble. And this Knicks team allows the second most points to pick-and-roll ball handlers in the league this season. The main reason for that is Karl-Anthony Towns plays a lot of drop coverage on pick and rolls, meaning no pressure on the guards. You're going to get wide open mid-ranges all day with that type of defense. The good thing is he's seen a similar type of defense in these circumstances. The Milwaukee Bucks and Brook Lopez also play a whole lot of drop coverage. He took 26 shots in that game, made 46% of those, scored 32 points. We only need 21 points here. He's going to see a similar type of defense. So I do like his over. The other thing I like about it is his attempts, 18 and 26 attempts in these 2 games. I watched some film from these 2 games and how's this guy scoring his points? Jalen Suggs has the green light to take whatever shot he feels like. There's a lot of step backs. There's a lot of fadeaways. There's a lot of very difficult shots in the mid-range, fadeaway 3-pointers. Like, he's got the ultimate green light here. And provided he takes a lot of attempts, he's going to cash it out. Even if you just look on the season. So he had 18 and 26 attempts in these 2 games. Even if we look at games where he shot the ball at least 17 times, check this out. Games with at least 17 shots this season, Jalen Suggs is over this line in every single game. 8 out of 8 games, averaging 26 points per game. How does he not take 17 shots? He's going to have the good looks in the pick and roll. He's going to be able to take a lot of bad shots if he wants to, and he's going to cover this line for us. Jalen Suggs over 20.5. I do like that. The next player I wanted to share with you is also in this game, and we're looking at Goga Bitadze. And for Goga, we're looking at his rebounds here. Now, his rebound numbers are a little bit up and down this season, and a lot of it comes down to minutes and whether he starts and what the matchup looks like. Now, Goga up against the New York Knicks. So he's only hit this in 11 out of 22 games this season. So you've got to do some advanced filtering to figure out what the hell is going on. He's the clear starting 5 in the Orlando Magic team. Especially with the Franz Wagner injury. Wendell Carter Jr., who was probably competing with him for that starting center spot, he's got to play the 4 now because they don't have many options in that position. So Goga locked in to start at 5. Looking at his last 2 games since Franz went out injured, 31 minutes and 38 minutes in those 2 games. So we could say our floor here is probably 30 minutes against the New York Knicks. But if we just look at the minutes here and what he does, if he sees at least 25 minutes, he's over this rebound line in 10 out of 13 games, averaging 10.4 rebounds. We need 9 rebounds to cash this bet. If you play with the filters a little bit more, games where he's played at least 28 minutes, he's over this line in every single one. 7 out of 7 games, averaging 13.1 rebounds, which is just astonishing. So he's a great rebounder. Now, the matchup is not ideal here against Karl-Anthony Towns, right? And the whole thought process is Karl-Anthony Towns, he's a 5 that's going to stretch the floor, right? Brook Lopez is exactly the same, and that was his very last matchup. Still managed to haul in 14 rebounds from 21 rebound chances. He plays further away from the basket than Karl-Anthony Towns. So I think Goga's still going to have the opportunities to get those rebounds here. Plus, he's seeing a lot more minutes. I think he sees more than 28 minutes here, but I'm just trying to be as conservative as possible. I also love the fact that this is a plus money play. You can still get it at plus money as well. Bet365, ESPN Bet, Fliff, Pinnacle, Bovada. Great odds for Goga Bitadze, who I think can produce provided he gets the minutes. And in this type of matchup, I think he will. The main risk here is if Goga finds himself in some foul trouble. Now, we do not want that, but provided he can stay clean, he should get a lot of offensive rebounds, defensive boards. I'm loving Goga at this spot. Pumping the brakes real quick to ask you guys to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. This is the fastest growing sports betting show on YouTube. I might have made that up, but grown almost 6,000 subscribers since the NBA season has started. I encourage you to jump on, join the train. We're looking to get to 20,000 subscribers. I wanted to get that by Christmas, but that seems really unlikely. But who knows? Almost got the sweep yesterday. And when good results are in, so are the subscribers. So we just went 3-1 yesterday, hoping to go 4 or 5-0 today, depending on how many bets I end up sharing. But I ask for your support. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and put any comment you possibly can down below in the algorithm. Pushes this video out to more people. Probably not the first time you've heard that, but help your boy out. Appreciate everybody who does this. Now let's get back to the rest of the bets. Let's go. And the next one, we're heading to the Portland Trailblazers versus the Phoenix Suns. Looking at Kevin Durant in this one. Now, I think his points plus his rebounds is going to be a very popular play today. The hit rate on that is fantastic, but that's not what I'm betting on. I'm betting on Kevin Durant over his rebounds and assists. This was a play that I bet on on the last game that he played, and it cashed for us. Now, I managed to get this at 8.5 at great odds when I sent this out to VIP. It was minus 120 for 8.5. It'll probably move to 9.5 by the time that you watch this, or you're going to get it at 8.5 and it's going to be juiced to the gills. So I'll explain to you why I like it at the 8.5, and then I'll tell you whether you should take it at 9.5. But at 8.5, I absolutely love it. The hit rate's great. 11 out of 14 games this season. I think the only changes they've really had in the team that makes a difference is with Yusuf Nurkic. He's over this line in 10 or 12 games when Yusuf Nurkic plays, averaging 9.9 rebounds and assists. Home game here for the Phoenix Suns, and at home, he's hit this in 6 out of 7 games, averaging 10.4 rebounds and assists. He's also played the Portland Trailblazers earlier this year. He finished with 9 rebounds and only 2 assists in that game, finishing with 11 rebounds and assists. So I'm absolutely liking what I'm seeing here. The spread is 11, so there is a risk of a blowout, but Kevin Durant can produce in little time. He also plays a lot of time anyway. And even actually, I'm taking a look here. They don't blow too many teams out now that I'm looking at it. But Kevin Durant does tend to get a lot of game time regardless. Blowout, blow in, whatever the blow-in's happening, Kevin Durant should be out on the court. But I do like the over 8.5. Historically, he's hit this quite nicely. Even if you look at historical matchups against Portland, 13, 9, and 11 last season. So covered this in all 3 games last season. Did play 38 minutes in all 3 games against them last season, so he probably doesn't play that. But at the same time, he was absolutely smacking this line out of the park. So I do like to ride with Kevin Durant on this one. A pivot for this is if you just look at his PRA. His PRA has been pretty good as well, which is why a lot of people are backing his points. But me personally, I'm just liking the rebounds and assists here. Doesn't necessarily have to score all these points for me to cash out. And the good thing is the worst game he's had this season was 7 rebounds and assists. So it's a pretty low floor. He's got a range between 7 and 12. And we need him to finish on 9, possibly 10 for you if you take this at 9.5. So the question is, would I take this at 9.5? And there's a yes to that. And I would take this at over 9.5, but only if you're getting plus money for this play, meaning plus 110, plus 105. If this is at minus 110 at 9.5, I wouldn't be touching it. The odds just aren't great for that. So take it at 9.5 if it is plus money. If it's not, then I would avoid it altogether. Now, my next and my final play for you guys is in this game between the Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Lakers. The play I'm looking at here is Santi Aldama. Looking at over 9.5 points for Santi Aldama. Now, his hit rate on the season's been pretty good, 19 out of 26 games. I think the most important filters to play with here are games with Ja Morant. With games with Ja Morant, he's over an 11 out of 15 games. But what's most important for me is since Ja Morant came back from his most recent injury towards the end of November, Santi Aldama has been hitting like crazy. I think Ja's been back for 7 games. So if we look at the 7 games since Ja Morant came back from his injury, Santi Aldama's over this line in 6 out of 17 games. 6 out of 7 games, averaging 15.3 points per game. Now, he's up against the Los Angeles Lakers today, who are absolute dog shit. Defensively, they're awful. They allow the 5th most points in the paint, 7th worst defensive rating. They play with a ton of pace, so there's a lot of opportunities. Santi Aldama should be able to score in transition, get some wide open 3-pointers, get some backdoor cuts on a sleeping defense. I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Santi Aldama is an absolute beast at the moment. A lot of people probably betting on Ja Morant points and assists, and I don't hate that play. I just like the Santi Aldama one a lot better. So take him over 9.5 points. If this moves to 10.5, I'd still take it. So I do like Santi Aldama. Even if the line moves, I think it's still a good look. Been playing extremely well. still getting pretty decent volume. He should take between 8 and 12 shots. My man only needs to score 10 points here. Great 3-point shooter. Can dunk very well. He's got size, can get some offensive rebounds, putbacks, all that stuff. Sancho Dama can get it done today against the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's the last pick that I've already got down. But don't go anywhere, because this is what I do. I give you more value. We're not just giving out the bets that I already have. I'll share with you some of the leans that I'm thinking about betting. Very close to betting these. Give you the reasons why I like it, what my hesitations are, and then you might decide to bet on these as well. So we're doing more than just 4 to 5 bets on this channel, baby. So let's talk about it. We'll go through a couple of leans. A lot of them have a great hit rate on them too. Let's do some exploring together. So whilst we're in this game, we might as well talk about it. LeBron James. I'm thinking about the over 23.5 points for him. Big question mark on whether he plays at the moment. That foot injury slowed him down. He's missed a couple of games already. His hit rate on the season's not fantastic at all. So this has nothing to do with hit rate, but he's eaten the Memphis Grizzlies alive this season. In 2 games, 39 and 35 points for LeBron James. Taken 20-plus shots in both of those games. His volume is sky high. Anthony Davis seems to struggle with this type of matchup, which means I think LeBron has to score a ton of points. In terms of his matchup, it's not too bad. The Grizzlies not great at defending transition. They give up a lot of free throws, so LeBron can get to the line. They're not great at defending above the break at all, so LeBron can get some wide open 3-pointers. LeBron James over 23.5, I like it. The only question is, does he play? And if he does play, will there be some sort of minutes restriction? Those are the things I don't have answers for, which is why it's on my list of leans. But if he does play and he plays his full set of minutes and he's not hampered by any injury, I love LeBron James to go over his points prop today. It makes a ton of sense for me. Now let's talk about some other leans. Well, we did speak about Kevin Durant actually, and one thing I'm very close to betting on is this. Looking at Kevin Durant and his first quarter points prop. Just look at the bloody hit rate on this thing. Over 4.5 points for Kevin Durant. Getting pretty decent odds, minus 120. He's hit this in 13 out of 14 games, averaging 6.4 points per game in the first quarter. His last game against Portland, only scored 5 points in that one, but still covered this line. He's going to get the volume. He's taking about 3-4 shots in every first quarter. It's all about efficiency here. He's making a 3-pointer in almost every first quarter as well when his legs are fresh. So Kevin Durant over 4.5 points, like, it's a hit rate play for sure. It's got nothing to do with matchups. But if you want to talk about matchups, it's pretty good. Kevin Durant scores in transition. Portland, 3rd most points in transition. Gets to the free throw line. Portland, 6th most free throws allowed. Scores in isolation. Portland, bottom 10 in defending isolation buckets. Pick and roll ball handler, spot up. Like, it all looks pretty good for Kevin Durant here. He should have a good scoring night as well. To get 5 points in the first quarter, why the hell not? His first game back from injury against the Utah Jazz, played 8 minutes in that first quarter, didn't miss a shot, made all of his free throws, scored 7 points. And I think that's where the risk is. His volume is not extremely high, but 4.5 for Kevin Durant, a 92% hit rate so far this season. I think it just makes sense to bet it, right? And if it loses, then, mate, there's a 9% chance this loses or something, right? If it loses, so be it. But Kevin Durant, over his first quarter points prop, that's what I'm thinking. I can't really talk myself out of it. I'm just struggling to talk myself into it. It feels like it's too good to be true. That's what I'm thinking. But the hit rate's fantastic. I can understand why the line's at 4.5 because his volume's not sky high. But this guy's been efficient as hell in the first quarter. Always, it's crazy. In almost every single game, he shoots better than 50% in the first quarter. It's nuts. Super efficient, which is what you're going to need here for Kevin Durant if the volume's not there. But in the flow of the offense these days, he should be able to get 3 to 4 shots up. You need him to make 2 of those if he's getting to the free throw line or making a 3-pointer. Let me know what you think down low in the comment section. Kevin Durant over your first quarter points prop. Is this a hidden gem that I've just found for you? Or does this play absolutely suck and I'm betting like an absolute amateur? Let me know what your thoughts are. So that's the first one. Actually, that's the second one. The next one we're talking through is in this Knicks versus Orlando Magic game. Looking at my man Campaign, looking at over 5.5 points. Now look at the hit rate on this. 16 out of 19 games he's gone over this. 13 consecutive games he's gone over 5.5 points, which is absolutely insane. Played the Orlando Magic 2 weeks ago, scored 7 points in that game, playing 19 minutes. So I tried to figure out what's the most likely scenario here and lineup. So I wanted to look at Campaign's games with anyone who's capable of scoring or taking minutes away. So we're talking about Cat, Jalen Brunson, maybe a Josh Hart, a Miles McBride. I think they're all the key players who could take any game time whatsoever away from him. But in those games, with all four of those players, he's over in 11 out of 14 games. He's still been hitting this number quite well. In campaign, he's probably locked into about 13 to 16 minutes by the looks of things. And in that time, he gets volume. He takes at least 5, 6, 6, 7. Yeah, he's going to take 6 or 7 shots here. So on 6 or 7 shots, can campaign cover 5.5 points? I think absolutely. He's going to make a 3-pointer. Always seems to make a 3-pointer by the looks of things. Has got it done against the Orlando Magic before, and the hit rate for this is fantastic. The matchup for campaign is awful. Let's not lie about that. Spot up shooting, the Orlando Magic are great at, but if there's no Jalen Brunson on the floor, campaign's your starting point guard, can score in the pick and roll as well. Could get some buckets that way because this Magic team, not great at defending the pick and roll at all. I think, yeah, it all comes down to does he get the attempts? And I don't see why he doesn't. He took 6 shots against the Orlando Magic last time, 2 free throws, 1 from 2 from deep. Only shot 33% from the field, so he didn't shoot that great. Line at 5.5, excellent hit rate. It makes sense. It really does. He's gone over it in 13 times in a row. How can he not, right? So that's another one I'm thinking about. A lot of these hit rate plays, like it does worry me because they always seem too good to be true. But shit, there are people here making YouTube videos just on hit rate plays, and they're doing extremely well. So I don't want to knock it, but campaign, that's one that I'm thinking about. Another one with a great hit rate. We're heading over to the Dallas Mavericks versus the Warriors, and we've got to look at Daniel Gafford over 9.5 points. So for Daniel Gafford, I usually look for the 9.5 point line before we jump on it. He does finish on 10 points quite often, which makes sense. If you're just dunking the ball all the time, 10 points is probably a key number for you. Now, he's hit this in 18 out of 24 games this season. He's also scored 15 points against the Golden State Warriors the last time they met. And it all makes sense, right? These Golden State Warriors don't have the size to slow down someone like a Daniel Gafford, who scores 88% of his points under the basket. This Golden State Warriors team actually limits a lot of points at that point in the floor, but similar types of players have gone over this line very well. Your Rudy Gobert's, your Clint Capella's, Derek Lively, his teammate, they've had some success against the Golden State Warriors. The challenge here is, will he get the volume? And that's my only concern. The last game he played against OKC, he finished with 9 points. He was 4 from 4, didn't miss. The game before that, 10 points against Toronto. He actually went under his line for both of these games, and I know that because I was close to betting on it. And I think I did bet the Toronto one. His line was at 10.5. Got hooked on that one. So that's my only concern. Does he get the touches? The hit rate on it is fantastic. He's done it against the Warriors before, but will he get enough shots to cover this line? And that I do not have the answer to. But the hit rate on it is fantastic. The last one that I'm considering betting on, though, is in that Phoenix Suns game. Where is it? The Portland Trail Blazers versus the Phoenix Suns. And I'm looking at Denny Advia here, over 11.5 points. His hit rate as of late has been astonishing. Look at that. 15 out of 25 games on the season. But since the middle of November, this guy's been consistent as hell. I don't know, it's hard to find consistent NBA players. It's absolutely nuts. But what we need to do is figure out what type of lineup is he going to see. So DeAndre Ayton is out. The top scorers for this team will be Anthony Simon, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, right? Scoot Henderson is back as well. So we need to include him in the mix. So if we just look at his games with all of those players, over in 2 games, scoring 17 and 19 points, right? These off the bench as well. Removing Scoot Henderson, though, because he's been out for quite some time, over this line in all 5 games, right? Against the Timberwolves, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, the Spurs. Now he's up against Phoenix, and the matchup is a little bit difficult. So that's a bit of a hesitation for me. But his hit rate as of late has been fantastic. Just checking to see what the matchup has been like in previous games, though. So Denny Advia scoring a lot of points in transition and from spot-up shooting. Spot-up shooting is where he scores a lot of his points. Just checking to see, has he faced any other teams that don't allow too many spot-up shots? So, yeah, taking a look at it, Houston Rockets, they limit spot-up shooting better than anybody else. He scored 13 and 14 points against them. The San Antonio Spurs, also very good at limiting spot-ups, top 6 in the league. He scored 19 points on them. So Denny Advia, provided that we can get him for 25 minutes, and I think we're looking good here. But there's a few games here where there's no Jeremy Grant, and this is when he plays 37 to 40 minutes. So these are clear outliers. So I think the biggest one that's going to impact his minutes is Jeremy Grant. So if we just look at the games with Jeremy Grant, we probably get a more realistic sample size. So what are we looking at here? 26 minutes, 29 minutes, 32 minutes in this one, but there was no DeAndre Ayton. So let's remove DeAndre Ayton, who's going to be out for this one, actually. DeAndre Ayton's not even playing in this one, so I think that's good for us. But yeah, I think we can guarantee at least 25 minutes here for Denny Advia. And looking at his games where he's played a minimum of 25 minutes, and let's just say a maximum of 35, then we can see he's over this line in 9 out of 13 games. Recent form is still fantastic. So I think Denny Advia is something I'm going to play. There's no real reason why I wouldn't take it. The matchup is difficult, but he's seen difficult matchups before. He's played Phoenix before earlier this season, scored 13 points in that game. No Shade and Sharp was in that one, but there was DeAndre Ayton, there was Jeremy Grant. So he probably still plays a similar number of minutes, and he's going to get the looks here. So hoping we see 7 to 10 shots at least here for Denny Advia. If he gets to 10 shots and he goes under this line, I can live with that. But I think that's a bet that I'm definitely going to take. The odds for it aren't too bad. I'll probably have to play it here, minus 125. But I don't hate the odds there for Denny Advia. The hit rate on is fantastic. Matchup, somewhat difficult, but like I said, he's got it done before in previous matchups that were difficult. So let's go. So that's a wrap on today's video. I'm going to edit this thing out, get it out to you all. Quick reminders, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop me a comment down below for the algorithm. Sign up to Rebet, make a $10 deposit, send me an email, get yourself into that draw to win $100 US. Plus, you get a month of my VIP picks for free. Now, I appreciate you all if you made it this far into the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope our slips be green tomorrow. Let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.